and as Daphne said, I am the Customer Training Manager here at Sisense, and today I want to discuss visualization, why it's important and how can we do it right with Sisense Web, both on the dashboard level and on the widget level. So, for starter, and without any further exposition, I want to ask you some simple question, and the question would be, I'm going to present the dashboard, and I want you to look at the dashboard and please answer, what is the contribution of the cell phone category to the total revenue? You can type your answers in the question box. So we're gonna take some time as the answers are coming in. I've been asked to repeat the question. So the question is, what is the contribution of the cell phone category to the overall sales, to the overall revenue? Okay, so we've got some answers, and I'm going to ask you another question. And the question this time would be, men in what age generate the highest revenue in the UK? All right, so we've got lots of answers, and they're very different ones. We've got many different answers, and my point was that actually I'm not very interested in the answers in themselves, rather in the time it took you to answer. And as I can see now from the answers, I see that most of you didn't, or some of you didn't get the answers right. So my question is, how did you succeed to get some information from this dashboard that you see? Actually, lots of you, or the first response that I got to my question was after about 30 seconds, and it is relatively long time because it's common to give about 5 seconds as a key number to measure the effectiveness of the dashboard. And if it took you 30 seconds to give me an answer, so it means that this dashboard is not effective enough. So a good dashboard will allow the viewer to understand and to visualize the information in very short period of time, in seconds. I want to be able to understand what I see in a glance. So to create a good dashboard, we have to follow some very basic guidelines, and we're going to discuss those guidelines today. Okay. So why did we choose to have a webinar on visualization? Why is it so important? So visualization basically allow us to see patterns, to see connection. We want to see what actually matters and design the information in a way it will make sense. In a way it will tell a story. It allows us to focus only on the information that's important. So how does it work? Why visualization and not, say, text or numbers? Well, as you probably know, here at Science, we're dealing a lot with visualization, and we're learning a lot about it. And one of the great TED Talks that I've seen lately, a talk called The Beauty of Data Visualization by David McCandless, talked about the power of data visualization. And he's referring to a work done by a Danish physicist called, and it's a little bit hard to pronounce, Thor Nostradamus. And this guy had a very interesting work. Now, what this guy did was to convert our senses, how our senses perceive and translate the information that we sense into computer terms. Okay, he just calculate the bits, the digital digits, and what this physicist Thor Nostradamus in his book The Usual Illusion found is that actually the sight, the sense of sight, is the fastest. Okay, it's like that the bandwidth of the sight sense is like the computer network. Touch, which is the pink territory that you see here, is about the speed of a USB key. Hearing and smelling, which has the throughput of a hard disk, and taste is about a pocket calculator. And this little white, really small square that you see in the bottom of the screen is actually what we're aware of. Okay, it's about 0.7% of what we sense. So as you can see, the sight is very dominant. Okay, it's very sensitive to patterns and variation in color and shape, and this is basically the language of the eye. Now, when you combine this language of the eye with what David McCandless refer as the language of the brain, of the mind, which is all about numbers and text and shapes, you actually start to speak two languages simultaneously, and this enhance one another. So visualization does matter. Visualization is important because it makes it possible for users to comprehend a very large amount of varied information very quick. And that's what we want to give to our users in the very busy and load of information environment that we're living in. So how does it really affect on the BI world, on building dashboards? What does it really take to make an effective dashboard? Well, I want to discuss 4 points. And the first point is that we want to make complex simple. We know that we have lots of information, lots of data. It changes all the time. We have different analytical needs. We have different business questions. And we want to take those complex questions and make it simple. So this is one point. The second point is that our data needs to tell a story. Okay, we want to be able to connect data to to its context. We want to answer the viewer's questions. We want to be able to give the viewer a context that he would know how to connect the data that he sees on the screen to his business needs. We also want to express the meaning of the data. We also want to be able to express the meaning of the data. That is where you start to think about what is the right visualization. You want to make sure that the visualization really presents the data correctly. And the fourth point is we want to reveal details as needed. We have, of course, lots of information, and we want to be able to reveal this data step by step. We want to give the data to the users when they need it, not to begin with and give them all the data. Okay, so basically, after we discussed this four principle, we're going to discuss their meaning to our work. And in order to make complex simple, we want to understand our users' needs. Now, we want to understand what are the business questions. We want to understand who are the stakeholders, and we want to understand what the frequency that they're going to be using the dashboard. Sorry. So actually, we want to understand the data in order to plan a good dashboard. But in this webinar, we're not going to be handling this gathering of needs phase. Rather than we just start at the point where you all have you all already understand the requirements, and now you're at the point where you start to build the dashboard. Okay. The second point is, in order to tell a clear story through your data, you have to think about the way you lay out the data in a way that it really conveys and it's really useful to the viewers. The way that you lay out your data is the dashboard level, okay, the construct of the dashboard, and we will address this in our meeting today. The third point is how to express the meaning of the data, okay? What kind of chart we want to choose, what is the correct way to visualize the data. And lastly, the revealing the details that could be done by accessing the data in steps, one after another. We want to be flexible enough to allow our analysts, our users, to reveal the data as they want during their inquiry. So let's start with the dashboard level. As I said, we're going to address both dashboard level and widget level. Okay, so now I want to go back to this dashboard that you've all seen in the beginning of the session, and this is actually a dashboard that we've put up for you together using the sample data, but it's not something that we just invented. Okay, so what we've done was to take lots of dashboards and analyze them, and actually to identify the most common or very common mistakes in dashboard design. And we've implemented those mistakes into this dashboard. So can you please look at this dashboard and tell me, and you can type it down, do you think that this dashboard tells a story. Do you think you can comprehend it quickly enough? What do you think? What do you think? Okay, so we're collecting more answers. Okay, most of, I think all of the answers I got is no. And you say that the pie charts are not related to the tables beneath, and you say you have to scroll down, and there's too many parts, and the details it doesn't tell a story. And guys, I think you're right. This is, as I said, is an example for a dashboard full of mistakes. And during this session, I would show you, we will analyze the mistakes and we'll suggest a solution. And then I will show you how we transform this very dense and very busy dashboard into a very elegant and clean dashboard, and that will show our recommendations. So let's see. Basically, if we look at the answers that you gave, we can identify two types of problems. All in all, we have wrong structure and we have a really loud visual noise. So in order to address those two problems, we're going to discuss 5 principles on the dashboard level. Okay, it's the overall layout of the dashboard. It's not in the widget, level. So in order to address those two problems, we want to suggest 2 categories of solutions. The first will be to create a logical layout, and the second is to design in a minimal manner. Less is more. So the first thing is to follow some kind of an organizing principle. Now, we recommend the inverted pyramid principle. And what is the inverted pyramid? The inverted pyramid, it's a well-known principle in design, and you can find further information about it online. It's practically a principle that divides the content into 3. Okay, you have the most significant, the most important information, the thing that you want to emphasize on the top of your dashboard. Then you have other important details. Okay, it's not the overview, it's already the details that will help you to understand the important overview information. And at the bottom of the dashboard, you will find the general and background information. It will be in a high granularity level, and it will give you the ability to drill down and to further investigate into your data. So if we translate it to a dashboard design, we can say that we will have 3 parts. We'll have the indicator, which are the most significant information, the most significant insights in the top, at the top of the dashboard. Underneath, you will find the trends, and in the bottom of the dashboard, you will have the details. Other principles, and I will shortly demonstrate on the dashboard itself how did we do it. are grouping KPIs by subject, and you can do that by using text widgets as headers and as dividers. You can take a blank text widget and just use it as a divider in order to create sections in your dashboard. Another principle would be layering up the data. That means not to show all the data at once, rather than to reveal it step by step, a layer by layer. As I said before, we want to allow our users to investigate the data and to be flexible. On the design level, we want to use a limited number of widgets. Now, it's a well-known fact in cognitive psychology that the human perception, the human memory can only grasp 7 plus minus 2 items. What that means regarding to the dashboard is that you might use 5 to 9 widgets, no more than 9 widgets. Okay, so we'll shortly see how we reduce the number of widgets from the mistake, from the wrong dashboard into the right dashboard. And we want, of course, to reduce the noise, so we're going to use in a consistent color plate. So let's see. This is the dashboard with the common mistakes. As you can see, we have 3 columns. They have an identical structure, which is wrong. Okay, we have indicators in the top part, but then we have very granular information, very granular data in the middle of the dashboard, and then we have another pie chart, another line chart. Now, overall in this dashboard, we have approximately 30 widgets, which are a lot. As you might remember, we said to use up to 9 widgets. So this is the new and the correct dashboard that we've created. And this widget, this dashboard actually shows exactly the same information, but in a much more clean and elegant way. Okay, so as you can see here, first of all, we have the total sale, and then we have 2 states sales that we want to see their information. We can do the same by filtering this dashboard. Okay, I'm sure you're all familiar with the filters in our dashboard, and this is a very simple way just to take the dashboard. We will look for the United Kingdom, and now we can filter the dashboard and get the results that we want to see. We of course can do it for the United States as well. And by using the filter, we reduced the amount of widgets to 30%. Okay, that's a lot. So this is one thing we've got. Another thing that I want to show you, you might look at the dashboard and say, but hey, lots of the information we had in the detailed, let's call it, in the detailed dashboard is missing. And I want to tell you, no, it's not missing, it's layered. What do I mean? We've used plugins. Okay, this is what we're calling the accordion plugin. By clicking on an indicator, we can open up a layer, a pop-up, which presents the information, the trends that explain this indicator. Okay, in this pie chart, I can see the contribution of different categories to the overall revenue, and here I can see another information about categories and brands by ranking and by conditional coloring, which I'll refer later. So this is another way. Another thing that we've done here, as you can see, here we have 6 indicators. Okay, we have this year indicator and we have last year indicator. In the clean dashboard, we've put those 2 indicators together in the same widget by using the secondary value. So now we have a dashboard that only includes 1, 2, 3, 4 widgets. We have all the information in only 4 widgets. That's great. And if we go back to our principal list, we can see that we have first the right structure because we have the indicators, we have the trends, and we have additional detail, will I refer in the second part of the webinar. Regrouped the KPIs. KPIs is key performance indicators. This is basically the way to measure your business questions. You take a business question and you break it down into KPIs. And we used the text widgets, okay, sales indicators and target audience analysis. We've learned the data and I showed you the filters and the plugins, and we used a minimal number of widgets, and of course we used a consistent color plate. Okay, so do you have any questions up to this point? We will take a second, maybe 2, to allow you and type your questions if you have any. Okay, so I see that the most popular question is about the plugins, and it's a great question because this is the next topic that I'm going to talk about. So plugins. Here at Sisense we have lots of plugins. Some of them are created by us, some of them created by our customers. I want to discuss 4, and then I will show you how you can find the plugins and how to see the installation instructions. So I want to show 4 plugins. We have the Jump to Dashboard. This is basically a pop-up dashboard, and you can use it to show other dashboards, other widgets. Most popular use would be presenting pivot tables, and then just allow your users to see all the granular data, but not on the dashboard level, but just by clicking and actually as they need it. Another type is the accordion, which you've seen live. Another one is Tabber. We also have this kind of plugin in our dashboard, and I will demonstrate it shortly. And we have the tooltip, which displays several values in one column chart. This is the plugin to the widget level. And you can find our plugins in our users forum, in our customers forum, and to big amount of the plugins that are supported by Sisense, you will find this kind of forum post with very detailed information about the capabilities of the plugin, about how to install it, and of course you can download it from our website. This is the accordion forum post. Here is the Tabber forum post, and we have many more like this. I welcome you and invite you to use our community. Okay. Let's see if we have another thing that I want to say about these plugins is that the widgets that are in the plugin are available and can be edited from this widget if you have the right permissions. Okay, so designers can edit as you can see, you can edit the widget itself within the plugin. Okay. I just want to see if we have any more questions. We have a question about the behavior of the plugins when it's embedded in another application. As far as I can say, it behaves very well. It behaves like a normal dashboard. It shouldn't be any problem with it. And there's another question about when it is right to use a pie chart, and if it's right to use when you have less than 4 pieces of pie. I think that you are correct, and it is recommended to use the pie chart when you have a minimal amount of pieces. But here in this presentation, I think that we can see all the details in a fairly good way. So we decided to use it, as we think it's not harming the visualization. Okay, so let's continue. So up to here, we've discussed the whole dashboard level, and now I want to refer to the widget level guidelines. And for this, I want you please to look again at this strong or very dense dashboard, and please tell me here in the widget level, do you see what are the mistakes that you think that there are here? You can type your answers. Okay, so there's lots of answers. You can't see all the data. It's too much information. It's too many subcategories. there are no coloring, there are no too much grouping, no visualization, and again, you're right. When you see a mistake, you can surely identify it. And when you look at the answers, again, you can see two types of mistakes. One is using the wrong visualization, and the other is, of course, visual noise in the widget level. So in order to overcome these two problems, we have two solutions. The first one is, of course, choosing the right visualization. And the second will be in the design level, again, to use and to design the widgets in a very minimal way. Again, less is more. So in order to choose the right visualization, first of all, you have to find out what is the purpose of the visualization. Second, you have to may combine different but related measures into one widget. And you want to present the most significant data by filtering and by ranking. Okay? And what do I mean? When I say choose the right visualization? We basically have four types of charts. We have the relationship chart, which show the connection between two or more variables. Let's say the connection between income and education. We have the composition, which is a breakdown, let's say a breakdown of responses to a survey. We want to see the proportions between the elements within the whole 100%. There's a comparison when you want to compare two or more variables, let's say sales of different products or sales over different periods of times. We have the distribution, which is a range or a grouping of values, let's say your customers' age or regions. And we have this visualization of the charts types. This is not a visualization done by Sisense. It's a visualization done by, you can see the reference here, by a designer called Abela. And you can find this chart in the presentation that will be sent to you in the end of the webinar. So you can use it. And another nice tool that we can offer you, we have this visualization wizard in Sisense website. And by answering some simple questions, let's say, what is the data that you like to show? Let's say we want to show the purpose is comparison. I want to comparison over time. Let's say that we want to measure the time period by a few periods. So the best visualization would be a column chart. If you don't know this cute tool by now, well, here's a very nice tool for you to use. Okay. So I'll be just jumping back to our widget level, and I want to talk about the design level within the widget, and then I will demonstrate it in the dashboard. So in the widget level, we want to minimize the clutter by eliminating grid lines and labels and legends. We want to highlight the specific and the most significant data by conditional formatting, conditional coloring, and of course we want to use titles and descriptions. Let's see what we've done in the more elegant dashboard. So as I showed you before, here we have the accordion plugin, but within this plugin we have a pivot table. Now you can see here the pivot tables. They are blank. We can't recognize, or it's not visual. It's not sufficiently visual. You don't see the numbers or the categories. Doesn't pop up and catch your eye. So what we've done here, we use conditional coloring, and we choose a number. In this case, 80,000K, and we colored the cost according to this key number. Everything above this number is green. Everything beneath is red, and the equal one is orange, as you can see. So this is one example of conditional coloring. Another example of emphasizing or highlighting the most significant data would be the use of data bars. So here you can see exactly the same structure, but now we choose to use these data bars. Okay, and you can see at a glance who are the where's the highest revenue. Another thing that I want to point out is that here we just we've selected only the top 10 categories. Okay, so now here we have only 2 pages in the widget, in the pivot table, while in this pivot tables we have more than 7 pages. Now imagine, were you able to sit and to look for data within 7 pages pivot table? If you do it, you probably wouldn't buy a BI tool. You want to buy and you want to use a BI tool in order to present only the relevant and the most significant data. So this is something you should keep in mind. Another thing that we've done here, and this is another plugin, is the Tabber plugin. And this plugin actually allows us to present the data. In this case, it's the cost and revenues by age and by gender. And just to switch from one display to another by clicking the titles. And what I want to point out here is that here we had this line chart, which is a wrong visualization for this information. A line chart is much more harder, difficult to understand when you want to show comparison. Here you can see a trend, which is great, but doesn't have any meaning regarding the ages. Okay, so here a bar chart would be a much wiser solution. So here are the things, the acts that we took to improve this widget level visualization. So again, we saw as an example to write visualization according to its purpose. We saw the how we combine different but related measures. I want to remember we combine 2 widgets into one. We have the significant data. We saw the conditional coloring, you saw the data bars, you saw that we are using very elegant and minimal widgets, and of course the titles. So this is, and of course you saw this very nice tool that we want to offer you. And you can see at a glance the very big difference that we've created, the transformation that we have between this very dense and very hard to understand dashboard and this very nice, elegant dashboard after the before and after. Now it will be a good time for questions if you have any more. Okay, so let's start to answer some of the questions as the time allows us. Okay, so one of the questions is what metrics or historical data did Sysens use to figure out what charts or visualization are the best used to specific data types? Well, in this matter, actually it's not something that Sysens has created. It's a well-common knowledge in the even academic discipline of cognitive psychology, of visualization, and this comes from the world of analytics. It's not something that's related to our work here at Sysens. It's something that is generally known. Another question would be regarding to the plugins that I haven't shown here at this demonstration, and you can find information about it on our website, but basically the tooltip just present, and I will show just a second, I will show again this slide. The tooltip is just giving you data bars of the most significant information and presents additional information in a tooltip next to the data bars. Another question would be about jump to dashboard. Well, jump to dashboard is really similar to the accordion. You just has like a transparent layer on the screen that emphasizes the dashboard or the pop-up window, and but the overall look is very similar to the accordion. Other questions are regarding to let's see, to the version. As far as I know, all the plugins are, these plugins that I've showed here, all these plugins are supported by Sisense, by our support team, and if you have, if something is not working correctly, you can contact our support and they will help you. There's another question: is it possible to set conditional formatting for values between specific range? Yes, it is possible. Not only to choose above and beneath. You can also color a range. And we have some more specific questions, and what we're gonna do is two things. First, we're gonna send you the recording of this session when we about during this day. Okay, I don't want to commit on a specific hour, but later today, and I will collect the answers, and we'll try to answer you by email for those of you who's asked specific questions. And thank you guys for your time. I hope you find this webinar useful and you learn some new things that you didn't know about Sisense and about data visualization, and I hope to see you again in our next webinar on next week, next Thursday. So thank you very much and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.